Welcome to Travolting, hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore, covering Two of a Kind. Enjoy the episode.
All right, and we're recording, Jeff.
We are recording. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you all for tuning in last week to our episode on Staying Alive.
Yes, a movie that we thought was a little slightly underrated.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys sticking with us as we enter the doldrum periods.
Yeah.
We're today, as we said in that intro, covering Two of a Kind.
Jeff, you remember when we used to cover good movies?
Yeah.
Boy, what a time.
We're now covering our second movie, which is nigh impossible to find.
Yeah.
I had to order a DVD off eBay of this movie.
And then you had to like illegally scan it to Google Drive.
I did no such thing. What are you talking about?
To which I had to download it. And then I had to AirPlay it onto my Apple TV where I could watch it on my TV. And the quality wasn't bad. Just to confirm, though, it is like 4:3 aspect ratio, right?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think I put the wrong side of the disc in.
Is there a widescreen edition?
There is a widescreen on the other side.
Jeff Sweeney.
I didn't even notice. I did not notice.
Jeff Sweeney. So I watched the full screen.
I watched the full screen one as well.
Oh.
I didn't realize there was a widescreen side of the disc until about halfway through the movie, and at that point I was too far in to switch it.
Yeah.
So I watched this in 4:3 as well.
Oh, then we're both on the same foot. Now, for folks listening, if you guys watch this and watching it in widescreen totally changes your perspective of this movie, then just tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us at Travolting Pod and be like, you dumb boys, you watch this in full screen.
If full screen is a 10% and widescreen is like a 90% of Rotten Tomatoes, let us know.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be, though.
Yeah. What would your tomato meter for this movie be? I mean, the tomato meter just does like the average of reviews. So if you, so it's pretty much what's your review, and that will be the tomato meter score.
Well, so I got to go back a little bit because with Staying Alive, that was a 0% Rotten Tomatoes score. One of 52 total movies that have a 0%.
Yeah.
And it didn't deserve it. It honestly deserved a 40% or something like that. This movie, what Rotten Tomatoes score did it get?
18%.
I probably deserved a 25, 30.
You give it a 25?
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. I will say John Travolta is not bad in this movie. Hear me out.
No, there's a lot of things in this movie that are bad, but also good.
Yeah, I think Olivia Newton-John's never been yeah, exactly. Never been super astonishing in terms of acting. People just like seeing her on screen. She's just she looks like she's having a great time.
She's a singer first, actress second.
She's singer first, actress second. But I do like seeing her on screen. She brings a vibrance, and her chemistry with John Travolta.
We'll talk about it, but this movie was a very big success for her when it was for absolutely no one else.
Yes, well, for not the reasons specific to the movie, but more so its soundtrack, which went platinum.
Yeah, this movie has this non-existent movie has a platinum soundtrack.
Yes, which it's good.
It's pretty good.
It's really good.
The music is not bad. I enjoyed it.
I would agree to that.
Even my girlfriend walked past me watching the movie and said, "This music kind of slaps."
Yeah,
I was like, "I agree."
So
pretty
this
good
is
soundtrack.
1983 during the poppy 80s area.
Yeah.
So we're not in the hard heavy rock and roll quite yet. We're still in the later 70s post disco poppy flashy vibe 80s.
We're in the first Reagan term. We're not yet in the second Reagan term.
We'll get there. We will get there. What's our second Reagan term movie that we have to watch for John Travolta?
Perfect. How many? We have 6 to 7. Actually, probably more. It's probably closer to 10. It's a lot.
Oh God.
Anyway,
what would you give it on Rotten Tomatoes, Jeff?
If we're judging purely on terms of quality, I'd probably agree with you around 20, something like that.
Yeah.
If we're going based on my enjoyment of this movie, maybe a solid 45.
Really? You had a decent time watching it.
This is a bad movie.
Yes.
But it is so bonkers.
Yeah.
It is so wild that I could not help but have a really good time with it.
There were some moments I was watching. I'm I'm enjoying myself too.
Oliver Reed plays Satan, and he just struts through the movie with a cane, causing chaos. And at the end, it reveals he has a soul.
He has a good
His name
side.
is Mr. Beasley
because
of Beelzebub.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Literally, I was thinking that right away. It's like Beelzebub or whatever.
Anyway, we're getting well ahead of ourselves.
Yes, we are.
We'll get to Satan later.
In the timeline of Travolta, so something that I really enjoyed that you mentioned in Staying Alive is this is like John Travolta's crisis mode movie.
This is his retreat.
Yes.
Staying Alive. After Blowout's failure, which he put a lot of heart into, he goes back.
And it was a good movie.
He goes back to what worked for him the first time, which was Tony Manero and teaming with Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
This is not nearly as well funded by the look of it as Grease.
Yeah.
But it was an attempt to get the two of them. It's only the second time they've ever like done a movie together.
And they haven't done any like feature collaborations since.
Not since.
They've done
music videos.
They've done music videos.
But they have not done a movie together since.
Right.
But
which I do think is a shame. Yeah. I think there is a good movie with these two. That's not Grease. I think you could put these two in like an independent screenplay that has nothing to do with the Grease universe. And I think it could work.
Yeah, they're a good screen combo. They have a lot of chemistry.
Exactly.
This is not the right project for that.
No, this is not. It definitely is not.
And it's just our second example of the sadness that's happening to Travolta around this time, where he just, instead of pushing ahead with his audacious work that he was showing in movies like Saturday Night Fever and Blowout, he's retreating to the familiar, to the cheap, to the boring.
Oof. Those are strong words, Jeff.
Those are strong words, and we're going to be dealing with them. We're going to be using them a lot.
You know, if John's listening to this right now, we just got to say that Blowout was a good movie, and you did not deserve that blowout in the 80s.
Yeah.
You deserved a good 80s era. And I'm sad that John Travolta did not get a good 80s.
Yes.
Imagine what a John Travolta would have looked like in a Ridley Scott movie.
Imagine what John Travolta would look like if Blowout had been successful. It would have been a crazy 80s. But it maybe in that case might not have led to as successful of a 90s.
True. He would have been in a Kubrick film in the 80s. He would have been in a Spielberg. Probably would have been Indiana Jones.
No, he would not have been.
I'm just saying. Like,
John Travolta could not do Indiana
Imagine
Jones.
all the good movies we missed out on because audiences in the 80s did not like Blowout.
Yes.
That crushes my heart.
Yeah.
It really breaks my heart because you did nothing wrong, John.
Yeah. And instead we get this and Staying Alive, both of which in his attempt to like do what worked the first time, both end up imploding and rocking him even further back into the family comedies that will subsume most
Is that what we're going to after this?
We're going to a lot of family comedies.
What's the first one we got to do after this?
Perfect comes after this. I don't think that's a family comedy, but I haven't seen it. So
that's Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Yeah.
But we soon get to like the Look Who's Talking movies. We're getting to Eyes of an Angel. We're getting to a lot of his rougher patch. And we will talk about it with great effort for you folks.
Fun fact, I knew we had Eyes of an Angel on our list, and I kept mixing the two up with these movies, Two of a Kind and Eyes of an Angel, because spoiler
this
alert,
movie is about
this movie has angels in it, and so I kept, and it's like a rom-com. Isn't Eyes of an Angel also kind of a rom-com?
Eyes of an Angel, to my knowledge, is a mob movie.
Really?
Yes.
Does that have angels in it?
Eyes of an Angel is an American drama film. Blah, 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 blah. This film was shot in Chicago. Cool. That'll be fun. Oh, no. It's Travolta plays Bobby Allen, a down on his luck single father and recovering alcoholic whose wife died of a drug overdose.
Oof. Real.
And it looks like there's some mob. Oh, no. It's a dog movie. Eyes of an Angel is a dog movie.
It's a dog movie?
It's a dog movie.
Okay. Does he get turned into a dog? Does he voice a dog?
There's a dog that it's like a Homeward Bound movie where the dog's trying to find his way home.
Oh, I like Homeward Bound.
Anyway, I have this movie on VHS. We're gonna have to watch it because it's not available on DVD or streaming, so you had to buy a VHS.
You got to give props to like John Travolta's publicity team for
erasing all these movies from existence.
All of these movies from existence. So like, when you think John Travolta, you only think Grease, Saturday Night Fever, and
you're
Pulp
like
Fiction.
The 80s didn't happen, and then Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it's like if you actually talk to somebody, you're like, oh, I love John Travolta, and you wanted to like refute that, you'd be like, okay, name me one good movie he made in the 80s. And they would just have to stop and think about it.
Talking. No, I haven't seen it. I don't know.
I don't know it either. Yeah.
But yeah, this is the start of that.
By the way, speaking of Chicago, did you hear Trial Chicago 7 got nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah. Oh, we're recording this right after the Best Picture nominations.
So by the time this episode comes out, will the Oscars have already happened?
I don't think so.
When's the Oscars?
They will be getting close to happening.
We should make our predictions like weeks before, and then when the Oscars happens, and then when the episode comes out, we can check and see how close we were.
So the Oscars are April 25th this year.
When will this episode come out?
Let me check. You folks are loving us discussing
Yeah.
whether we should make predictions on this episode or not.
I think we should.
Well, we have to make sure we do it on a episode that comes out right around. Okay, on our episode about basements.
That's when we make a prediction about the Oscars.
That's coming out 5 days before the Oscars.
Okay.
So on our episode about basements, you folks can look forward to some Oscar predictions.
The only thing that's tough about that is that'll be before all the Guild Awards, right? They'll be before the WGA and the DGA.
I think those have already started to happen.
Will those have happened already?
I believe so.
Okay, good. Because that's how I make most of my predictions.
Is off the guilds.
Whoever wins the Guild Awards usually wins the Oscars because they're the same voters.
Essentially.
Yeah. For folks who would like really want to be good at Oscar ballots, just go by whatever the guilds do.
If you honestly want to be good at Oscar ballots, just shoot from the hip. Take no prisoners. Have faith and trust in yourself.
I got like a 17 out of 19 last year. Something like that.
You did do pretty good last year.
You were there.
I
remember?
was there.
Yeah, dude, I did really good last year.
This year, our Oscar predictions are we're gonna blow the lid off this joint.
We are.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a perfect score.
Yeah.
So
But
hey,
basements, you guys could hear those. As of now, what you can hear is us avoiding talking about.
I was gonna
Two of a
say,
Kind.
Jeff, you and I are quite the two of a kind, which reminds me
Yes.
of a movie that we should probably talk about today.
Yes. Two of a Kind.
Two of a kind.
So this is the debut theatrical feature film for the director John Hertzfeld.
Never heard of him.
His most recent film was Escape Plan 3.
Oh, Escape Plan.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one with Stallone.
Oh, it is.
It is.
You believe it or not, there are 3 of them.
There's 3 of them?
They filmed 2 and 3 back to back.
Of course they did.
Stallone is in them. Schwarzenegger is not.
Isn't he in the first one?
He's in the first one.
Right. What
He's
happened?
not in the sequels.
Why isn't he in the sequel?
Probably because it was below him.
But not below Stallone.
The star it's like Stallone, Dave Bautista, and a $10 budget. I mean that's you can sell me on a movie with that synopsis.
Sure.
Stallone, Bautista, and a $10 budget.
Sure.
But at the same time, John Hertzfeld didn't really go on to do much. This is his first movie.
Yeah.
He also directed the behind-the-scenes special features for The Expendables.
Okay.
So
BTS director.
Odd career.
Yeah.
This film was almost produced by our good friend Robert Stigwood.
Robert.
Who carried Travolta through Saturday Night Fever, Grease, and
Moment by Moment.
But he dropped out of this movie.
I will never forgive you for that film, Robert. Is Robert still alive? Robert Stigwood?
Let's find out. Robert Stigwood. You folks can hear me
Typing.
click clack. No, he died in 2016. Sad.
Oh, sorry. Well, Robert, wherever.
Did you know he was the manager for the Bee Gees?
Well, that makes sense.
He also managed theatrical productions like Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar.
So he's a musical guy.
He was a music guy. He was a movie guy. He was a little bit of everything.
And yet he produced Moment by Moment,
produced
which
Sweeney
has
Todd
no
and Evita.
music in it.
And Pippin.
Okay.
He was the soundtrack producer for The Empire Strikes Back.
I'm sure this is really interesting, but
He produced Gallipoli by Peter Weir. What?
Okay. So two of a kind.
Robert Stigwood, you rule. I'm sorry you're dead.
Did he die young? Was he pretty old?
He was old.
Okay. Well,
It was a full life.
he lived a long life.
He got to do a lot.
R.I.P. Robert Stigwood.
Anyway, he was going to produce this movie, but he did not because he had creative differences with John Hertzfeld and another producer. He wanted the Bee Gees to do music for this movie.
Of course he did. He wanted the Bee Gees to do all the music
he
for his
wanted-
movies. He
wanted
wanted
to
to do it for Moment by Moment.
Yeah,
and they
and he
said
said-
no because it was so bad.
But he ended up not producing this. Travolta stuck around even without his good friend Robert Stigwood. They shot the movie in 1982. Came out in 1983. They started shooting it in New York City, but bad weather caused them to finish it in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the ending of the movie where this movie ends in like a fight scene and like police action sequence.
People get shot.
There's a lot going on at the end.
Yeah.
The set that they use is the same set from Friends. It's
And the same
street.
set from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Yep, it's that same. I've been there. I took a Warner
same
Brothers,
street. Yeah, the Warner Brothers studio tour.
And I've seen that street.
Yeah. So, what's the guy who says like, I've never seen, a confession, I've never seen Friends.
I have.
Who's the guy on it who says like, hey, or whatever the saying is?
What?
The Joey is that his name?
How you doing?
Oh yeah, how you doing?
That's Joey. That's not Diaz. That's a comedian. But Joey. What is his last name?
No, that's Backstreet Boy.
Because it's
No, it's NSYNC.
It's
I don't know.
Monica and
Anyway, his name's Joey.
Joey. Yeah,
He walked the same streets as John Travolta in this movie.
he did.
Yes.
Not John Travolta though.
Yeah, not John Travolta.
Not quite John Travolta.
Yes, not quite.
Um,
This movie was also delayed because Olivia Newton-John wrote one song for it, and it was like the main thing that test audiences liked, and the song was successful on the radio, so they delayed the movie to have her add more music.
Of course.
So, which is why you hear the same Olivia Newton-John song like 3 times in this movie.
Yeah.
Because we just gotta stick this movie full of it.
Fun fact: she gets bit by a dog, or she got bit by a dog on the production of this movie. And even after the trainer told her that this dog's nervous around crowds, we're with a lot of people, just be careful, she still went to pet the dog, and the dog bit her hand. And she got to continue on with the scene. They retired the dog that day. And I just want to call out Olivia Newton-John and say, that dog had a career.
And you ended it.
That dog had a family. It had mortgages to pay. He wanted to send his kids to dog college, and you ended that for him.
Yeah.
And I honestly think we deserve an apology.
Olivia Newton-John, apologize.
Apologize.
Hashtag ONJ apologize.
ONJ apologize for, what was the dog's name?
I don't know.
I don't know. It wasn't.
But it is weird. I don't know if that dog was supposed to be Travolta's dog in this movie. It is weird because at the beginning of the movie, he has like an automatic dog food dispenser, but then he never has
no
dog. But he has no dog.
Well, I think it wasn't an angel holding a dog in one scene.
Yeah, there is an angel holding a dog.
So maybe it's that dog.
Maybe.
I'm sure that dog's well dead already, but we still think that ONJ should apologize for ending that dog's career.
Yeah.
The dog didn't do anything wrong.
Boycott Newton-John.
No, we don't want to boycott Newton-John, but we deserve an explanation.
Yes. But yes.
Come out of the shadows and give us an explanation for ruining this dog's career.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. So, should we get into the plot of this movie,
so
Jeff?
This movie already starts off crazy. It starts in heaven.
With Handel's Messiah, Hallelujah.
Yeah, you're hallelujah blasting. You're flying through the clouds.
Hallelujah.
And then you come up with a bunch of angels and they're playing golf.
They're playing golf, which that's the old saying, right? Is that you play golf in heaven or whatever?
I've literally never heard that before.
I'm sure it's a saying, and I'm just forgetting who says it.
You said it right now.
Yeah. But they're playing golf in heaven.
But it's like they have these really shitty superimposed clouds in front of them. It looks like it's very clearly coming out of a smoke machine.
Yeah.
And they just superimpose it over Scatman Crothers and friends hanging out playing golf. It's like working class angels.
Scatman Crothers, who was in The Shining.
Yeah, he's Dick in The Shining.
He's Dick in The Shining. He says, you have The Shining.
And he is one of the angels in this whose names I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they're playing golf, and then, whoops, God comes back.
God comes back.
Yeah.
Apparently, he had given these angels 25 years.
Yeah, he took God took a 25-year vacation.
A drop in the bucket of time, that says God.
And the angels really went and mucked it up.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny. This movie came out in 1983, so if you subtract 25 years, it pretty much lines up with 1960. So pretty much this movie's inferring like JFK and all like the counterculture movement was because God like fucked off for 25 years.
That shows you the political linings of who produced this movie, Jeff.
Yeah, it's like now things are back to normal in the 80s.
Yeah, things are back to normal in the 80s.
Yeah, it's like you guys
forget the Holocaust, forget World War II. Yeah. That all happened under God's watch. Yeah. It was counterculture
and
that really fucked up humanity.
God shows up and he's like, guys, Nixon. What's the deal?
What's the deal?
How did that happen? How'd you guys let
What's going on here? Yeah. And so then my favorite is I think I want to start over. He's like, I think I want to wipe humanity off
like,
the face of the earth, like Noah's Ark shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
I'm gonna do it
and they're
again.
like, well, what do you do with all the people? And he's like, I'm gonna bring them up here. They all die and come to heaven, and we don't have to do any of that scale shit.
I did not remember that. So wait, everybody was gonna get a free pass to heaven?
Yeah, they're gonna bring everyone to heaven.
Everybody?
Every single person.
Death row people.
Yeah, because like even though he thought all of mankind was irredeemable, one just wiped them out. He thought that was kind of unfair, and he was just gonna like give them heaven pass.
Just a fair, sorry guys.
I'm taking everything from you, but you get to be up here.
That's not a bad deal.
It's not like the worst deal this god could have in this movie.
Right.
But at the same time, probably not a cool move to destroy the earth.
Yeah. I mean, he said he's just gonna kill all humans. The animals are gonna stay.
So all the angels are like, no, don't do that. See, we can find if we find one good person, you have to, let the earth stay.
But here's my hypothesis. Do you think that if an angel came down to earth and told a human what God was planning to do regarding killing the whole earth but bringing everybody to heaven, I honestly be like, oh, cool. When's that happening? Next Tuesday? Sweet. I'll pack my things. Like, that's honestly like, oh, I just found out that the biggest mysterious question in the universe of whether God exists or not turns out to be true, and that there is a heaven, and I get a free ticket there next week. All right, cool.
But how else can you have sick car chases through Times Square if you're in heaven?
Well, we do get that nice shot of John Travolta flinging off the bridge that I am in love with.
But anyway, they're like...
And crushing Olivia.
Yes. They die in this movie and then come back to life. But God, he's like, yeah, if you show me one good person, I'll save the planet. And they cut to like a shot of a kid. And God's like, too easy. Yeah. It's a cheap shot. He says at one point,
you set the bar.
I don't know who voices God in this, but they're like, hey, I'm God at one point.
Oh yeah, I wrote down a quote. He's like, hey, I'm God. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
Great writing.
Yes. So they look at another person. I can't remember what, but they do something bad.
Priest.
No, it's a priest.
Yeah, they look at a priest, and it's like, I want to see a normal person.
Yeah.
And that's when we get to
John Travolta, who's
wearing his edible sunglasses. We don't know then.
Well, that's a plot twist halfway through.
Yeah, it is a plot twist halfway through, but he's wearing these sunglasses that we learn later in the movie is an invention of his.
Yes.
That they're edible sunglasses.
And at that point, he is... What does he even start this movie?
Okay, so he owes some people money.
I remember when he gets to his apartment, but I can't remember what he starts the movie.
He's hanging out on the sidewalk, and this car pulls up, and some of these loan sharks come out, and they they apprehend him, and they pull out a switchblade, and they're like, "I'm gonna cut your ears off. You don't give me my $13,000 or whatever."
Yeah, but you know what one of their names is?
I do know what one of the names.
Stuart. Yeah, this is our second Stu on this podcast. This is
our second Stu character.
Yeah.
So
and he's played by Al Neri from the Godfather movies.
Yes,
who is exactly the same character.
100%. It's like
he just says more words. In
it's
this
like John Hertzfeld just said, "You're that guy.
Yeah,
just be that guy, please."
So these two lone stars, Stuart and his like dumb henchman.
Yeah, is really
this
dumb.
This guy who's just like, yeah, I'm here helping you out, huh?
I don't know if he talked like that.
He doesn't talk like that,
but yeah, so then that's when he owes some money. He goes back to his apartment.
Yeah, he's like, I'll have it to you by tonight. And so Travolta goes back to his apartment. He does not have said money.
He does not.
But we learn why, or we think we see why he's spent all this money.
Because
he's a Doc Brown type.
He is an inventor.
Rube Goldberg machines in his apartment that do all these wacky things.
Yeah, he says like, time for food. And then like a dog food just like plops into a bowl.
Yeah, and we never see the dog.
There's no dog.
But,
which means, does he eat dog food?
Maybe he does. But he's a failed inventor with all these things that no one wants to buy.
The failed inventor thing doesn't come back in the end either.
It literally does. I thought that the most unbelievable inventor I've ever seen in a movie is Mark Wahlberg in Transformers: Age of Extinction. I'm an inventor from Texas.
I'm an inventor.
He's like, I invent things. I thought that was the most unbelievable inventor I've ever seen.
And then we saw this movie.
A new champion in town. And it is John Travolta in Two of a Kind.
Yeah, his inventions don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, the inventions, they all suck.
They do all suck. Like, objectively suck.
They suck.
They don't just suck in the movie world. They suck in real life.
Even the ones that, like, maybe tangentially are a good idea,
Like,
don't work.
folks, edible sunglasses.
Yeah, he's edible sunglasses. He has a button that if you press his doorknob, it sounds like dogs are barking to repel intruders. But the thing is, the dogs just stop.
Yeah. And then if you ring the doorbell again, this starts again in a loop, and you can quickly tell that it's a loop, and it's being played through speakers.
Literally, the dog food one.
I thought this guy was a sound recordist.
Blowout.
Fucking blowout.
The dog food one is the most useful invention, and he doesn't have a dog for it to use for, so it's even more pointless.
Right.
But he's a shitty inventor. He's not making any money on it.
Can you throw your jacket on the door? Sorry, it's just causing a lot of.
Yeah. Well, now you're not hearing it anymore. Anyway, so
sorry, folks who are listening to that.
So he's hanging out, and he's like, all right, the only way I'm gonna get this money is to rob a bank.
Rob a bank.
So he puts on his Patrick Swayze cosplay.
Oh my goodness, the disguise. I learned that. So one quick thing to note is now I think we got to move on to the hair ranking. Cue the music. All right.
And that's the theme for the hair.
Thank you for joining me on this hair ranking of two of a kind. So do you have the list pulled up, Jeff?
Oh yeah.
We made a list.
Why am I the curator of this list?
Because I get to talk about it. This is the one moment where I get to like talk about things, and you do all the technical things. Okay. Whereas it's always the other way around.
All right. So where is his hair in this movie going?
So nothing special in this.
Nothing special.
I want to say it's like right around blowout.
It's around blowout.
Yeah.
Above or below?
What placement is blowout?
It goes Saturday Night Fever, blowout, Urban Cowboy.
Can I see the list? Just like rotate. Come on. All right. So I'm seeing it. So, okay. Blowout. I would say it goes below blowout in between Urban Cowboy. So it's now the new number 6. Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. And I honestly don't have much to say about it because, yeah, the hair is just kind of like regular adult John Travolta hair, which, as I said in Blowout, it's like it's a more mature look for him.
I have very bad news for you that we're going to have a tough time with this segment over the next few
because it's just the same hair.
He pretty much just keeps this hair for most of the 80s.
Oh.
However, we will have a stirring resurgence of this in the 90s.
And yes, I'm looking forward to that.
When we get the Pulp Fiction primary colors double shot, we're getting back to the back to good old hair rankings. But we will endure through this time.
We will endure. But he wears a disguise where he has like a long blonde wig.
It's literally like a patch. He's wearing like denim jacket, denim pants, denim shirt under the jacket.
Denim on denim on denim.
Yeah, he looks awful. It's a terrible disguise. It's the most.
And he has a fake mustache on.
Yes,
that
and
falls
long,
off at one point.
Blonde curly hair.
Yeah, it's not flattering on Travolta.
Yeah, and he just walks up, and he has a gun. He walks up with like the gun wrapped in a newspaper to the counter, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you were the prettiest chick in the joint."
Sorry, sir. My
thing's closed.
My thing's closed. And then she just puts her closed sign in front of her, and then he walks to the next teller.
So he walks to the next teller, and it's
Olivia
Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John.
And then he pulls the same move. He's like, "Yeah, I saw you were the prettiest teller in the joint, or whatever the hell the line is."
Yeah, something like that.
And she's like, "Oh, what are you hateful today?"
Is this going to be the entire podcast?
And he's like, "Give me your money." He's like, I need
$13,000.
He's like, no, he needs 13,000, like 680. It's a very specific number.
It is a very specific. Why not just ask for like 15?
Well, it's to show that our man is not an evil criminal. He's only doing this out of necessity.
But he is kind of an evil criminal.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah. He cares about boundaries, though.
Yes,
we get to that later.
Yes, this is the first Travolta movie where he's had deep respect for boundaries. I mean, it's growth.
You caught on that too.
Yeah, it's growth.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
We'll get to that scene later, but
for the time being,
yeah,
he I just had a package ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something wrong, Jeff?
No, I just had a package.
You want to address it to the audience?
No. Yeah.
Jeff was checking his phone, so I was giving him shit for it. That's okay. I checked my phone too.
Yeah, he gets the money, or he gets she's like, I only have $600 in the drawer, and he's like, go to the back.
Go to the back.
And he's like, here's this bag. Tell them I left it here.
Yeah.
And then he just wanders off, still holding the gun in his hands.
Well, he's like, I'll shoot someone. He's like, who? It's like, I'll shoot her. She's like, do you want to go to the back? And she just goes to the back.
Yeah.
And then she starts laughing. He's like, what's so funny? And his mustache is like halfway off his face.
The humor in this movie is like written by aliens. It's
Yeah.
just like, you know, those like Twitter bots where it's like, I gave an AI like 10,000 screenplays to read. This is like one of those movies.
Yes, it really is, though. It 100% is. So yeah, he corrects his mustache, and it's a nice little joke between the two of them. They're bonding, and he's like robbing the bank.
he's robbing the bank,
and they're flirting already. That's the thing that we gotta address in this scene.
Yeah, and she comes out with the bag and has her number on it, and she's like, oh, I'm single.
And yeah, so she's flirting with him as he's like robbing the bank, and then another teller finds out about it.
Yeah,
rings the bell,
and Travolta flees, and he escapes.
He escapes,
and then he gets back to his apartment and rips his disguise off, and he opens the bag, and it's empty. It's just full of like random papers.
Yeah, and I think, is it before or after this when like God is looking at all this happening?
Yeah, we cut back to the angels,
and he's like, I am not impressed.
he's like, yeah, this guy sucks.
This guy really sucks.
You guys picked a bad move.
And the angels are like, well, just give us another chance. It's like we need more time.
And he's like, all right, you get until tonight.
And then it's like, what? It's like, you created the earth in 6 days. It's like, oh, you're right. I'll give you 6 days then.
Yeah.
He gives him a week.
Yeah, it gives him a week for this guy to shape up.
So then he goes back to the apartment.
He goes back to the apartment. He's all mad.
Why is he mad, Jeff?
Because the money's not in there.
Where's the money?
With Olivia Newton-John, who's using it to pay her landlord and buy a bunch of new furniture.
That's right. Olivia Newton-John, not the best spender.
Yeah.
You know?
Around this time, after this, we cut to... I think the mob guys, the loan sharks, come to his apartment around this time. And he's like, I'm going to go get them. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't.
I thought we cut to her going back to her apartment where she like pays her landlord. And we learned she got fired. The reason why she got fired was because she flirted with the bank robber.
Yeah.
If there's any reason why you should get fired from a job, flirting with a bank robber's got to be number one. That's got to be the best one right there.
It's a unique way to
imagine
get
you're
fired, for
a
sure.
grandma and you're talking to your grandkids. It's like, hey, Mom, I got a job at a bank. I'm working in the bank. Oh, that's great, grandson. I got a funny story about that. It's like, what happens? Like, I got fired once for flirting with a bank robber. And then I married him. It's your grandfather. Wait, Grandpa robbed a bank.
But
yeah.
Yeah, so Olivia Newton-John's thriving with this $13,000 that she stole from a robber who's stealing from her place of work.
Yeah, and she has a very creepy landlord.
No, it's around this time. We haven't gotten to that yet.
Which part?
I'm getting a little mixed up on the timeline here.
Me too, man. This is a tough movie.
Yeah, but we cut back to John Travolta.
Yes.
And the loan sharks show back up at his apartment.
Yes.
And that's when we get the bit with like the dog.
The dog.
You press the
doorbell
and Al Neary's like, hey, put those dogs away, eh?
He's like, I'm going. It's like, hey, get back in your cage. Get back in your cage. And he's like, I'll be there in 1 second. I got your money. And then he's like going to a window.
And Travolta escapes out the window with his briefcase.
And then one of my favorite parts of this movie happens.
The loan sharks chase after him down the steps.
Whoa, you forgot the best part. So like, he's like, get in there. And he's like, how am I supposed to get in there? Like this. And he grabs his henchman and chucks him through the door. And the door just breaks like shatters. It's nothing. And that's how they get in the apartment. And they chase him out.
Travolta's running. They lose him.
Yes.
And then they get in their car and they see him.
It's at this point when I wrote down, I'm losing focus. Because it was hard for me to pay attention at all during this. Because I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
So they see Travolta and they start speeding their car towards him.
Yes.
Travolta pulls a pretty slick move where he jumps in front of a taxi and then jumps on the hood of it.
Joker style.
Jumps on the hood of it to convince them that and the guy's like gets on, he's like, hey, are you all right? And then Travolta gets in the taxi and drives off.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So there's a car chase.
I wrote at this point, WTF is this movie?
Yeah.
Because a car chase ensues through Times Square.
And then he has
a fairly sizable car chase.
Yeah. Probably costs a lot of money to do that car chase because it's through like Times Square.
Yeah. And, so it ends with Travolta careening off the road. And then flying through.
Well, so he has to pull his taxi off the road. He gets off of out of the taxi, and then he hops on the roof of a van. Yeah. And he like tells the guys, keep driving, keep driving.
Oh, he's hanging off the roof of the van.
And the other guys are like, pull over. It's like, they want me to pull over. It's like, no, don't listen to them. Keep driving. Yeah. Then the guy pulls out a gun, and that's when like he's like, cut him off or whatever. So he like cuts him off in the car. and the van stops, and John Travolta gets yeeted off the fucking roof
We
of
got
the
to
van.
a wide shot from the under like a bridge.
Yes.
Of Travolta's flying over the side.
And
then
who
we
does
get
he
to
run
Olivia
into?
Newton-John just walking on the sidewalk.
Yep, Olivia
And
Newton-John's
Travolta-
just here.
Travolta just plops right into her.
Dead.
And they die. They both are killed instantly.
And that's the end of the movie.
We see them both dead lying on the ground. We cut back to God, and he's like, yeah, this sucks. And the angels...
My thoughts during this whole movie.
Yeah, and the angels are like, okay, let's raise the stakes. God agrees that if these two people can fall in love and do one selfless act for each other, he will spare the earth. It's like almost It's a Wonderful Life kind of bit,
Yeah.
but not quite. Because God didn't threaten to destroy the earth if Jimmy Stewart didn't find self-love. But
Right, yeah.
they make that agreement. The angels are like, all right, let's get back to business.
Did you crack your
I
knuckles?
didn't just crack my knuckles. I wanted that sound
We'll
effect.
get back to business.
Yeah, we'll get back to business.
And so
So we cut to a morgue. And their bodies are hauled in. And then an angel's like, wait, stop. Rewind. And they rewind the tape. And we just see the last 20 minutes of the movie.
yeah.
Oh, no, we see the last 2 minutes of the movie. And we stop again with Travolta flying off the bridge.
Right.
And Olivia Newton-John just standing there seeing him about to kill her.
Right.
And one of the angels is like, this is going to be a bit difficult. And then who strolls up? But
The devil
himself, played by Oliver Reed,
Yeah.
Mr. Beasley, who shows up and tempts the angels with
Women.
naked women.
Yeah.
And it's like, join my side. And they're like, no, never. And Satan's like, I'm going to mess with you. And he strolls off. And,
Yeah.
then they rewind the clock again.
I totally missed that was Satan, to be
Yeah.
honest. I was like, who is this guy? What
He's
are they
wearing
doing here?
he's wearing a bright suit.
Yeah, and oh my god.
It's like Tom Waits and the
It's-
Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
I gotta be
style,
real with you, Jeff.
Satan.
As we talk about the movie, I feel like the movie's getting worse in my head. It's like when I watched it, I was like, oh, that happened. And now as I'm talking with you about it, I'm just like, this movie is so horrible. And Jeff is taking a photo of me or a video of me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it your 1 second thing?
My 1 second. I'm doing 1 second every day.
1 second every day. Did you tell the audience about 1 second every day?
No, because they aren't sponsoring our show, so I'm not going to hype up their business.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
1 second every day. If you want to sponsor our show, I'll talk about you.
Okay.
Anyway,
Well, we did.
yeah. So they rewind the clock again, and they go back to right when the loan sharks see Travolta and he does his taxi move, and Scatman Crothers is a bus driver, and he just pulls his bus in front of the loan sharks and is like, "Hey, the bus died," and they can't chase him. Cut to the next day, Olivia
So
Newton-John.
they save him. They save his life.
They save his life. Travolta escapes. The next day, Olivia Newton-John's walking down the street and she grabs a newspaper
Yeah.
and sees that there's an article about her. It's like, I flirted with a bank robber or something like that. Tell her fired and all that.
Yeah. Then it
And she's
says,
like, haha, so funny. And then Travolta gets it. He's like, this motherfucker. And
now he
but
knows who
he
she
knows
is.
her name.
Yep.
So she goes to an acting class
Oh,
because she's an
yes.
an actress.
Can I just say, it's never my favorite when in movies they incorporate roles and jobs such as writers, actors, filmmakers, because to me it's just like lazy writing.
Yeah.
I just never like it when it's like the main character is a writer.
Mm.
Like, come on, be more original than that, or like be creative. There are more jobs than just writers.
But there's no writer in this movie. Instead, there's an acting coach.
There is an acting coach.
And Olivia Newton, and he's like, tell me how it felt when you saw this robber.
He wants to expose her trauma to the class.
And he's like, use it. Yell like you would at that guy if he was in front of you. And
Like if your grandfather died the night before and your acting coach is like, I want you to look at me like I'm the grandfather taking the last breath of life. How are you feeling now? Like, Jesus, dude, back the fuck off.
And she's laughing. And he's like, that's a nervous reaction. She's like, no, it's how I felt when I saw this guy.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to get her to cry and scream and all that. And then
then
she sees Travolta in the back row.
Travolta is in the back row of this acting
And she actually
studio.
starts screaming.
Yep.
And the coach is like, yeah, this is great.
That's amazing. All the acting folks.
And she's like, he's right there, get him.
He's right there. Ah!
And then Travolta leaves.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John. What are their character names?
I don't know.
He's Zach and she's Debbie.
Could not have I did not know that. I just called him Travolta.
So Debbie then goes home.
Yeah.
And she has her roommate search the apartment because she's afraid he's going to be there.
Yeah.
And then plot twist, he is.
Well, he sneaks in after the fact.
Yeah, he climbs in through the window after the roommates leave.
So she's like,
because they're always going. Her roommates are always going to like parties in the beach and shit.
Yeah, she's in the kitchen and he like strolls in.
Yeah,
and he's all like suave.
And she's like, and he's like, the only way out is the window.
Because she tries to like open the door, but she like opens it too hard and the doorknob breaks.
Yeah, and rips the doorknob off.
Come on, man. Classic New York.
So the two of them, he's like, I need the money.
Yeah.
And all that. And she gives him the money?
Well, so she's like, how much do you have left? It's like, I have $3,000 left. I don't believe you. And then he starts tearing up her actor headshots.
Oh, yeah, her headshot.
Which is the best way to torture an actor is just to tie them up in a chair and slowly rip their headshots in front of them.
Oh, shit. Gene Hackman voices God in this.
Of course Gene Hackman voices God.
He's uncredited. I just learned this.
Why is he uncredited?
I guess he probably just didn't want his name. But it's Gene Hackman. I did not know that.
Good for you, Gene Hackman. You did a good God.
Gene Hackman, you rule. You rule in this movie.
It's got nothing on Morgan Freeman.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah. So then she eventually says, all right, I have $5,000 left, or $8,000. I think it's what it is. And so he's like, all right, get me the money. And so she goes back into her bedroom and she gets her the money. And he's like, okay, like he has the money. And then he helps her fix the broken door.
Yeah.
And that's when her landlord comes out and like, I don't know what his deal is, but he's like,
he's a creep.
He's upset and mad. It's like, who's that guy? And they both unisonly say, nobody.
Yeah, he's like the landlord from the Spider-Man movies, except if he was also like a sexual predator.
Give me rent.
You'll
get your rent when you fix this damn door.
But
thank you for doing that with me.
This landlord's like always creeping on her and like doesn't like seeing another guy at her apartment.
Weirdo.
And Travolta fixes the door.
Yeah.
And she's like, how are you putting that back? And he's like, you see, the gimmick is you got to hold the nuts while you screw. Very subtle, John.
Very subtle, John. And he's like kind of thrusting.
Yeah, he's doing it too. He's being a little creepy, as is the landlord.
Yeah.
But Travolta heads out around that time.
Yeah. And she follows him.
And
I was like, why?
She's given him the money at this point.
Yeah.
The $8,000.
And she's following him. And I'm like, weren't you just like terrified of him like 5 minutes ago in the movie? And now you want to stroll along sidewalk with him at night?
And he's like, you want to get dinner? Oh, she says, do you want to get dinner? She says, do you want to get dinner?
She's like, well, I guess then that means I was going to ask you out for dinner then. And a taxi pulls up, and there's a dog in the front seat of the taxi.
And it's one of the angels.
It's one of the angels, we found out. But before that, I'm like, why is there a dog in the front seat of this taxi? And then he looks at the taxi, then back at her. It's like, all right, get in. And then they go get dinner.
And they go get dinner. Yeah. And at this really fancy restaurant.
Yeah, which they're obviously using the $8,000 for, which John Travolta needs to pay off his debt with the loan
so now
sharks.
He's spending debt money. Well, she said she was going to cover it. And then when he gets there, he's like, how are you going to cover this with all your money you don't have? And she's like, I was going to owe you.
Wow.
So they're hanging out at this restaurant. And who comes in? Satan.
Satan is there.
Satan rolls up.
And
he tells the loan sharks to come.
Where to find John Travolta, yeah.
And so they show up, and they're holding a knife to Olivia Newton-John's head.
Yeah, he's gonna cut off her ear. And that was like the gimmick in the first part. Is when they threaten him at the very beginning of the movie. They're like, I'm going to cut off your ears if you don't give me my money. So they threaten to cut off Olivia Newton-John's ear. And he's like, whoa, I got some of your money. It's like, great, then I'll only cut off one ear.
Yeah. So he does hand the money, but then all hell breaks loose.
He tries to run away and like ditch Olivia.
Yeah, and at some point, one of the monsters gets thrown into like a table.
And then it's freeze.
And then we freeze frame.
Yeah.
And Satan starts moseying around. He like moves a pie in front of where this guy's gonna land. He grabs another guy's hand and puts it on a woman's breast so that he'll get in trouble when they unfreeze it.
Yeah.
And the angel's like, Satan, stop doing this. And Satan's like, ha ha ha.
I'm an evil man.
And so they keep doing fast forward, rewind, like back and forth.
Yeah.
And eventually God like emerges again. Is like, stop all this business.
Stop.
This is too much.
Yeah, I wrote down angel and devil get into pissing match.
Yeah, and God's like, no more. You no longer have the powers to pause.
Rewind. Fast forward. Rewind.
Y'all no longer have those abilities, so you can't do that anymore. Which is,
I guess,
which
God
is,
can tell
sucks
the
because that was
devil.
maybe the only like interesting gimmick in this movie. was the
Right.
fast forward rewind.
That
stuff.
was the only interesting gimmick, and it gets taken away.
Yeah, it gets taken away.
Yeah. What are you looking at?
Nothing.
You were looking at something.
I'm not looking at anything.
Are you sure?
Yes, but
Okay. Kind of freaked me out there, dude.
yeah, it's fine.
Anyway.
But yeah, and
So
God shoots rain down into the room
for what reason?
to punish the angel and the devil for all this business.
So let me get this straight. When the angel and devil abuse their powers, he makes it rain on
Yeah,
them.
he made it rain.
But when humanity starts abusing their abilities, he's just going to wipe them off the face of the earth.
Yes.
Talk about abuse of powers there,
Yes.
God. Like,
Gene Hackman, God, you suck.
little hypocritical there, Gene Hackman, God.
Yeah. So, God is just.
So we cut to Olivia's apartment, right?
Well, no. First, we unfreeze.
Yeah.
And everyone's wet.
And all hell's breaking
Yeah.
loose.
A guy flies into a pie. A fight breaks out.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John runs for it.
John Travolta runs for it.
The mobsters are like caught in the middle of it. Satan starts strolling around singing "Rain" by the Beatles. And we cut to Olivia Newton-John's apartment.
Yeah.
And she's just washed up for the night,
Yeah.
just making herself some dinner. And then knock, knock, knock.
It's John Travolta.
She goes to the door and is like, who is it? And it's like, it's me.
It's me.
Yeah. And then she's like, what's that awful smell? He's like, it's me.
He's like covered in water and
he's
cake.
He's covered in water, cake, the whole mess.
Yeah.
He looks disgusting. He looks scuzzy.
Yeah. And so she lets him in and like to clean up, wash up.
Yeah, he's like, I need a towel.
Yeah. And then she offers him a place to sleep
Yeah.
because he can't go back to his apartment.
Yeah, there's some business about that.
Yeah. But then that's when she's like, all right, you'll sleep in the couch. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I think I saw your cat out here. He lures her out of her bedroom
Onto the couch.
onto the living room, and then he puts on a record.
This is sometime around the time where he has the line where she's like, I only date like clean guys or something like that. And he's like, okay, I'll go back home to the sewer. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. So he puts on a record, they start dancing,
Yeah.
and then immediately start passionately kissing.
Yeah.
And then that passionately kissing gets a little hot and heavier.
Yeah. And
they're
then
on the
she's
couch
like,
together.
I don't want to have sex with you. And he's like, okay, that's fine. He's like,
Yeah.
I would love to have sex with you, but if you say no, that's no.
He's like, I respect your boundaries.
Yeah, it's the first Travolta movie where he's respected a woman's boundaries.
I'm like
That's
watching
character
this and then Urban Cowboy.
Yeah.
Vastly different.
Yes.
Just I expect some good loving.
Yes.
From Urban Cowboy
Yeah.
to like, oh, I respect your boundaries. You're a good person.
Yeah.
You know, I respect you.
So yeah, they just hang out, and then her roommates come in, and they're like, "Oh, this is the first guy she brought home in forever."
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
I can't remember. I think that's the end of this.
well,
scene.
they leave the apartment
Yeah,
that night and they go on a carriage ride.
Yes.
And the driver of said carriage is one of the angels.
Yes.
The guy from The Shining.
Yes.
Scatman. So, yeah, there's a carriage ride. It's romantic. They kiss. Then the next day, they go on like a little date.
Yeah, they go on a date together.
Yeah.
On
Forget the fact that he's being hunted down.
on
by
like
these
the bank of the Brooklyn River, Hudson River.
Hudson. Yeah.
And it's like the worst romance montage I've ever seen.
What are you talking about?
It cuts into close-ups of them doing things.
Yeah.
And then to the exact same like wide shot of the Twin Towers and like the financial district.
Yeah.
It just cuts to a wide shot of like the financial district on them.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, these are edible sunglasses. And she's like, who the fuck would want these?
Rightfully so. And she tastes them. It's like, in her Australian accent, she's like,
oh, this is blimey, this is bad.
this tastes like shit.
Yeah. Tastes like shit.
It's like, I don't remember ever hearing Olivia Newton-John like swear that often on television or
well,
film.
apparently this taste of these sunglasses prompted it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, it's the first time I can remember hearing her actually like swear in an Australian accent. And it just like brought me so much joy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, these taste like shit.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's funny.
So yeah, they have that romance montage.
And they're falling in love. But then they get
Back to the apartment.
Yeah, and the mobsters are there.
Not quite yet. So they get to the apartment. She she listens to her voicemail. She got a role.
Yeah. And then she calls back and turns out she missed the call.
Yeah,
and
she
did
missed
not
the
get the
call,
role.
and
that is the end of that plot line.
Yep.
We never hear about her acting ever again.
Right. That's it.
Yeah,
She's
that
going
is
to become
it.
a waitress later on,
Yes.
and that's all the development we have for
Yes.
her. So then the sharks come because the
sharks show
devil,
up, told them
that
where to find her.
snitch bastard,
Snitch bastard, the devil.
snitch bastard, tells the load sharks, like, that's the thing. If you're going to be evil, that's fine, but don't be a snitch.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a snitch.
Yeah.
Not even bad.
Especially not actual Satan.
Yeah, not actual Satan. Don't be a snitch. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you catch their building on fire to kill them, but don't snitch on them with the load sharks, okay?
Yes.
Have some decency.
Have some boundaries, Satan.
Have some decency, you asshole.
Yeah.
So then the loan sharks show up.
Yeah, and the henchman has like a crisis of conscience. And,
Yeah.
and he grabs the gun and points it in the other one out near
puts
his
it
mouth.
in his mouth.
And he's like, "You guys run!" And Travolta and Olivia and John run. And I don't think we see the loan sharks again, do we? They just don't appear again.
I think that is the end.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
They never appear.
So
Presumably, he shot the guy. I guess.
presumably, maybe he shot himself afterwards. What happened is he shot the guy as they ran away,
Yeah.
and then he felt so guilty that he shot himself. And Olivia Newton-John just never went back to her apartment.
But they run out.
Double homicide happened there.
And not only did Satan snitch, he snitched twice. And the police arrest them.
And
And they get taken to the station.
I just have no words.
And it's like Chief Detective Ernie Hudson. Yeah, the Ghostbuster is there.
yes.
And he's pretty much doing the same Winston Zeddemore like bit where he's like, oh, the working class cop, all that.
Yeah. It's like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna tell
you're gonna tell on him and tell on her.
Yeah.
And they're playing them against each other in separate interviews.
And at first they're both like unwavering.
yeah, they're both like, I'm not gonna sell on her.
But then Ernie goes to John Travolta.
And he got a tip about a heist that John Travolta did of like movie set stuff. And the only person he had told that to was Olivia Newton-John.
Did I miss this?
Maybe. He stole like his disguise from like a film set or some of his invention stuff.
I totally missed that part of the movie.
But the only person he told that to was Olivia Newton-John, and somehow the cops found out about it. Presumably Satan snitched. That's just what he does.
You, Satan, you snitch bastard. Satan's a snitch. Let it be heard.
But yeah,
So then that's when John Travolta cracks.
yeah, because he's like, oh, she told on me because she's the only person I told about this, even though she didn't.
She didn't.
And
just
so
a tip.
he just he snitches on her.
So she's gonna go down for the crime.
Yeah, and it turns out she commits a selfless act and still doesn't like turn on him.
Right.
And they're like, "Hey, God, a selfless act." And he's like, "Gotta be both ways.
Gotta be both ways.
He's got to do something too."
Yeah. And so it's not looking good. It's like, can you give us another week?
Yeah,
It's like,
they
no.
have like a falling out in the steps of the courtyard. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's like, "You told on me," and she's like, "I didn't. You told on me though, and now I'm gonna go to jail for it."
Well, she doesn't go to jail.
She
Because-
thinks she's going to, and then we cut to
The courtroom scene.
what?
They're in a courtroom.
Oh yeah, they're in a courtroom,
Yeah.
and an angel has ripped up the tape.
Well, so yeah, they're all waiting for the district attorney, and they're like, "What's going on? Why are we waiting
The
so
taped
long?"
confession was torn.
Yeah,
up
so
by
like,
one of the angels.
well, because the angel like comes into the courtroom behind the district attorney. He's like,
Yeah.
"Judge, can I approach the bench?" And he's whispering to the judge about something. We don't know what. And then the angel comes in behind him and sits down next to the other three angels, and he like, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
and shows the tape that he stole from
Yeah.
evidence. It's
Yeah.
like, I guess, in what commandment number 6, thou
Yeah.
shalt not steal.
yeah,
Who fucking
it's the
cares?
11th commandment. Thou shalt not snitch.
Well, I guess thou shalt not steal is exempted if you're trying to save humanity from God's own wrath.
Yeah.
Like,
But
so
yeah.
religion.
So that all happens.
that all happens.
And they're out on the front steps, and they have a falling out.
They have fallen out.
And she goes to be a waitress again.
It's
Meanwhile,
at this point when I stopped taking notes.
yeah, we cut to Travolta alone on a carriage riding through
Yes.
Central Park
With Scatman.
with Scatman. And it's like this very funny wide shot. It's very like
And, like,
elegant and romantic. It's just Travolta sitting there all sad on a
dude
carriage.
only met this guy once.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do you think she loves me?"
And Scatman's like, oh, maybe. I don't know.
yeah,
He's
sure.
like, yeah, that's great. He's like, go tell her you love her. And so he goes to the diner she's working at.
Maybe that happens in New York quite often.
Yeah.
People console
It's
with
a
carriage
fast
drivers.
city,
Yeah.
City that never sleeps.
What?
City that never
The
sleeps.
city that never sleeps. in the city that never snitches.
Well, when
unless
you hit
if you're
down
the
Buster.
devil. Unless if you're the devil.
Yeah. Sympathy for the devil.
Snitches get stitches, Satan.
Yeah.
We'll remember that.
Snitches wind up in ditches.
Yep.
Satan, not gonna turn out so well for him. You thought it was bad the first time you got cast from the mountain or whatever the hell happened. I don't know.
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah. That second, we're gonna cast him from where he is, even deeper.
Yeah, he's not gonna like it, but you're a snitch.
Yeah.
So you deserved it.
But anyway.
So
Yes. We're saying "but anyway" a lot this episode.
we have.
Yeah. So Travolta goes to the restaurant she's working at, and he's like, "I love you."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Go away."
He's like, "What time do you get off?" And she says, "Late. Too late for you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, it's like, yeah, he did kind of snitch on you, so maybe you're probably justified. But then outside, the angels realize they're out of time, and Satan's like, "Ha ha ha! I've won. Their souls are mine."
And
they're like, "Well, you see, if God wipes out the earth, he's putting everyone in heaven. So you're gonna be alone in hell.
There's only gonna be animals on Earth.
Yeah." And Satan's like, "Oh shit, that I hate that. I don't want that." And so
then there's a bank robber.
bank robber shows up, and all these cops are on the street.
And John Travolta gets forced out of the restaurant, and Olivia Newton-John gets taken hostage by this bank robber
who's holding her up, and he's like, "I want $11.68 and a helicopter to where my mom lives."
$11.68.
Yes. And the cop's like, "That's all he wants."
He's like, "We got another one of those wackos."
Yeah.
The main cop, like the captain, I think is a cop in one of the Die Hard movies.
Probably.
And Die Hard 2, I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
Like the same captain in Two of a Kind is the same cop in Die Hard 2 at the airport. Pretty sure.
Yes, it's probably so.
Pretty sure. So,
but he's like, "Yeah, we're not going in to rescue her. We got snipers, but the guy's got a gun on her.
Gonna get a clean shot.
Yeah. And so Travolta lunges into action.
Yes.
The bank robber takes Olivia Newton-John up to the rooftop.
Yes.
And Travolta clambers up the fire escape.
He climbs up the fire escape.
And he jumps in, and a fight. there's a
brawl.
genuine brawl between Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and this bank robber.
And the bank robber is so far winning.
Meanwhile, the cops are like trying to get a shot with their snipers.
Yeah.
And eventually, Travolta lunges in front of Olivia Newton-John as the bank robber fires, and Travolta's shot, and he falls to the ground dead.
End scene. Credits.
And no, Olivia Newton-John's like, "No!"
Yeah. And it happens right before midnight, because all
Yeah.
while this is happening, the angels are looking up at the clock,
Yeah.
and it's getting closer to midnight.
Yeah, it breaks down like a gun battle in a fight, and then one of the cops shoots the bank robber, and he falls off the rooftop.
Yeah.
And Olivia Newton-John's like, "No, Zach, you can't die on me like this. I love you too much. I do. I really do." And then God's like, "All right. They did the selfless act for each other."
And then
it's like Beauty and the Beast at the end.
And then he heals John Travolta.
He heals.
And John Travolta comes back to life.
Yeah, he comes back to life. And the cops can't find the robber's body.
And then we cut to the back alley.
Yeah. And the angel finds the
devil.
The devil.
And he holds up a ski mask.
Yeah, and the angel's like, "I see what you did." And the devil's like,
"That's not.
I don't want to be alone here. That's not mine."
Yeah, that's not mine. He denies it at first,
and he strolls off.
Just so like the
Satan
devil
has a heart of gold.
But you still snitched.
Yeah, he snitched.
He still snitched.
He sucks.
He
is literally Satan. The only reason he did this is because he didn't want to be alone.
Yeah, it's a very selfish act.
Yeah, he did a very selfish act for a selfless act. So he doesn't have a heart. I take it back. Fuck you, Satan.
You're a snitch, piece of shit. I bet he eats at White Castle. Yeah, that asshole.
He's probably Australian. He's probably an Australian cowboy who eats in White Castle. Doesn't like The Last Jedi. All the people we consulted on this show.
Just because everybody knows that snitches, when they just get done snitching, they go to White Castle to eat.
Yeah.
White Castle, you're the castle of snitches. Fuck you.
Yes, fuck you. But it's pretty much the end of the movie. They kiss.
Well, they kiss.
And then they walk off, and there's a freeze frame.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some business about God sends Macbeth for one of the angels to read, because he'd been quoting Macbeth and Hamlet earlier.
Yeah, he was quoting like a bunch of Shakespeare.
Yeah. And they give like a collected book of Shakespeare that the angel throws at Travolta. And it's like, "Catch up on reading." And then there's a freeze frame and the credits start to roll, and that's the end of the movie.
We are 2 minutes under an hour.
I mean, we're not done the episode, but we're done talking.
We're done talking about the plot.
Yeah, there's really not much to this movie.
The movie was pretty bad.
I had fun watching how bonkers it was, but there's really nothing interesting.
It starts off like at a fair pace of bonkers, but then the bonkers gets died down.
Yeah.
And that's where it really loses faith for me.
I keep forgetting that there's an angel plot line.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, this is a romance movie. I'm like, oh yeah, there's God
Angels,
and Satan are in this movie. This movie is about John Travolta needs money for edible sunglasses. And simultaneously, if he does not fall in love with a woman, God's going to destroy the fucking earth. This movie has grander stakes than the majority of like major blockbuster superhero movies and stuff.
Yeah.
This movie's about a second flood.
What's interesting is this is Travolta, I believe, his last movie in his 20s. Because he's 29 in this film.
Oh yeah, so
the next movie he makes, I'm pretty sure he's going to be
entering his grown-up years.
He's going to be in 30 years old.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John, who's already been established to be 6 years older than John Travolta, was 35 during the making of this film.
Crikey.
Yeah,
she's in this movie.
She looks great for 35.
Yeah, she does.
Olivia Newton-John, even today, I still think very attractive.
Yeah.
But you still need to answer for that fucking dog who
so
lost
you gotta
his
deal
job.
with that.
You know, he had a retirement plan. He had a pension. All that got taken away.
Took that all away from him.
So we needed to answer Olivia Newton-John. All right, to our listeners, we do not encourage cyberbullying.
We do not.
I want to make that clear. But I do think we should press Olivia Newton-John in answering this question about the dog that you tried to pet on the set of Two of a Kind who bit your hand and lost its job.
Yes.
We need answers.
Yes.
But again, Olivia Newton-John, you're a great human being. We love you to death. We just need answers.
Yes.
We
just need to know.
In no shape or form is this an incitement of cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Nobody should do that. If you do, then you can fuck off this podcast and go eat at White Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And hate Last Jedi.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. But
anyway, so this movie comes out, makes absolutely like no money at the box office, gets an 18% average of critical reception. I was nominated for 5 Razzies.
I don't think that was earned, and I'm glad you brought that up.
I was nominated for Worst Actor, Worst Actress, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, and Worst Picture. Sad. The Razzies are kind of bullshit, just in general.
Yeah.
Like, why do we just like roast people's work and something like that without?
That's kind of what we've been doing.
We at least criticize it and try and find good.
Yeah.
But
Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta both did not. They were not the worst actors.
Yeah, they were fine.
They were okay. They were doing what they did all.
They were doing what they could.
Exactly. They were doing what they could with this movie.
Oliver Reed's pretty good in this movie, though.
Oliver Reed is pretty good. He commits to it. He commits to the Satan role.
But anyway,
the guy who plays Stuart is pretty good.
He's down here. He's a criminal.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And his name is Stuart. And as I've mentioned to the audience before, characters named Stuart that are not Stuart Little, the mouse, and Stuart the Minion, and Stuart from Mad TV are good friends of mine.
Yeah. Stu.
So now I have Stu the ex-husband.
Aren't you so glad it's only been moment by moment in Two of a Kind where there's been Stuarts?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, the best movies.
Best movies ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone's probably going to say, like, well, isn't there Stu from the Hangover movies? I'm like, yeah, but they always call him Stu. It's never just Stuart, you know?
Yeah.
Same with the ex-husband, which I guess we're counting that. So I guess we should count Stu from the Hangover
But John
movies.
Travolta's not in the Hangover.
Right.
So it does not
right.
count.
Doesn't count for our canon.
Yeah. Our canon.
Right.
This is episode 10.
This is episode 10.
We are near 1/6 of the way done the show.
Oh my god. Only 1/6. Oh.
As a reminder, we have 66 episodes of this show.
Oh man.
Plus, at this point, 2 bonus episodes scheduled.
2 bonus episodes scheduled.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do the whole.
Hey, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Okay. I won't.
But you folks will have some midweek bonus episodes at some point coming out.
At some point.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them.
Yeah, they'll pop up on a Wednesday when you're least expecting it.
At like 2:30 in the morning. Which doesn't make any difference because like I already schedule our episodes to premiere at midnight.
But yeah.
So
anyway, this movie, to wrap up this movie instead of talking about our other episodes, which we'll talk about in their own time.
Yeah.
Did not do well. Did get a platinum soundtrack, as we mentioned. The soundtrack did exceptionally well.
It wasn't nominated for any Oscars, was it?
No. Olivia Newton-John made a lot of money off this movie.
Yeah. For music.
Which no one else did.
Right.
And that's pretty much the lasting legacy of this movie.
It's just a soundtrack.
This is just the soundtrack. Some of the songs you probably heard before, like Twist of Fate by
I just want to
OMJ.
read some of the critics' reviews of this movie. Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times said, "This movie should have been struck by a lightning bolt." And I think he was crediting Urban Cowboy with
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Variety said, aside from the presence of the two stars, Two of a Kind has all the earmarks of a bargain basement job. New York Times, the results are so disastrous that absolutely no one is shown off to good advantage, with the possible exception of the hairdressers involved.
Ooh, got him.
Yeah. One more. A stupefying shambles. Two of a Kind just noses out Staying Alive for worst picture of the year. God damn.
It's really not going well for our boy.
Going well for our boy. Staying Alive is not the worst movie, and it wasn't the worst movie in 1983. Same year Return of the Jedi came out. Staying Alive gets shit on too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This movie, it gets almost correctly shit on.
Yes.
It's bad.
It's a bad movie.
But I don't think it's at the fault of Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta.
Yes.
It's definitely not.
But it definitely does Travolta no favors.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
On that, you guys can join us next week. I mean, unless you have anything else to talk about in this
Are you
episode.
wrapping this up already?
I have nothing else to say.
We're at an hour and 2 minutes. At least we passed the hour mark. You know, like moment by moment, we were done talking about that movie 45 minutes in.
Yeah, that was
pure agony to get through.
This one, at least, like, even though we forgot like half the movie, still
What do we got after this one again?
Next week, you guys can tune in for our episode on Perfect
with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, another rom-com.
Our next few episodes, if you folks are watching along, which, as I've said, I encourage you to do, just so that you can be a part of our conversation.
Yeah.
I understand with some of these movies you might not want to, and some of them you might just not be able to.
Yeah, some of these audiences aren't going to be able to watch.
I don't want you folks to order the like $20 DVDs of this movie and whatnot.
Didn't you find like a DVD for, what was it?
Eyes of an Angel.
For like $200.
Yeah, it's $200 if you want the DVD of that movie, which is why I bought a VHS tape.
Which we have to watch at my place.
Which we have to watch together.
Yeah, because I'm the only one with a VCR player. Hashtag vintage.
But yeah, our next few movies, we're covering Perfect next week. We'll be covering Basements, a Robert Altman picture, 2 weeks. And then The Experts. And then Look Who's Talking the week after.
It's going to be dire, Jeff. But I'm happy to be doing it with you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a few fun weeks lined up for you guys. Please remember to tune in. Folks, hope you folks have been enjoying. Thank you all for listening, and make sure to rate, review, subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on.
Yeah.
If you are on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, and YouTube, please remember to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button.
We really appreciate it.
Tell your friends, share it online. We appreciate it. We really do.
Yeah, and definitely review on our Apple podcast.
Yeah.
There's been
we've had 2 reviews, and they're just from people saying that they like my voice, but they're people I know, so it's kind of fake.
So to boost Jeff's ego, fellow audience members, I would implore you to go to our Apple podcast and do some reviews where it gives Jeff more compliments to his voice, because he has a good
please don't write constructive reviews about our podcast.
No.
We enjoy
constructive reviews should be done on YouTube. Where all the constructive criticism goes, clearly.
All the constructive criticism ever is on YouTube.
Yeah, you should listen to all the comments on YouTube. All of them.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
In conclusion of wrapping up.
We enjoy doing this show. We hope you folks enjoy listening, and we appreciate anything you guys can do to help us along. We are still a new podcast trying to reach out to some folks, so we appreciate it. Now we just lost all the listeners that I made a sincere imploration. You can find us at Travolting Pod on Twitter or Instagram for updates, fun stuff, headliner clips, and all the above. You can pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. I think it's still there. You can email us, travoltingpodcast@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
You can find me at Stuart Elmore 95 on Instagram.
And as always, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for graphic design.
We love you, Rebecca.
And special thanks to Michael Van Bodegum Smith for the theme music you are hearing right now.
I love you, Michael.
Have a great week, folks. See you next time.
See ya.